What's up, everybody? Always Train Faith Edition for today, and we're going to take a look at Mark chapter 4. I know that on the last video we were starting a little series of taking games events and looking at moments from that and applying it to Scripture. And we're going to do a little bit of that today, but actually Pastor Greg at One Church gave a great message last week that I think is super relevant for the times right now, and it's a whole series based on peace be still. And so before I kind of dive into that, I want to preface it with, throughout the Bible, you look at all of these miraculous stories that happened, right? All these things that people look at, and you can read through the Bible, and it makes you sometimes wonder, did it really happen? Are these things that could happen? Is this possible? So you look at all the different miracles and all those things that are miraculous, so far outside of anything that I've ever seen or experienced in my everyday life, that it causes pause, right, to try to understand what was going on there. And oftentimes we get way too caught up in the supernatural stuff in the Bible. Personally, I don't have any doubt of it, anything like that. Personally, those are things that I put my faith into, things that I haven't seen but still believe in. But on the other hand, we need to take a look at the bigger story or the bigger picture from the story that those supernatural things are tied to. So in Mark chapter 4, the story that we're going to focus on is when Jesus and the disciples are going across the lake, right? They get in a boat, they're headed across the lake, huge storm comes, and boat starts getting thrown left and right all over the place, and the disciples are pretty freaked out, okay? Jesus wakes up, calms the storm, completely calms it. That's the supernatural thing that happens. Tells the wind and the waves to stop, essentially, right? That's the gist of the story, right? And the focus there is easily on, that's crazy. How could this person, Jesus, it's what makes him unique, do such a miraculous, amazing thing, right? But if we look earlier in the chapter, the miraculous thing, but the more relevant thing is Jesus is asleep. He doesn't care. He's not worried about it. He knows. He has that peace. He has supernatural peace inside of him. And part of that, you could call maybe easy for Jesus because he's fully man and fully God, right? So there's an understanding there that we can't relate to. But if you look earlier in the chapter, Jesus said to the disciples before they even departed, we're going to the other side of the lake. That was his promise, right? No matter what happens on the journey, we're getting to the other side. That was his promise at the start of the journey, right? And his promise, God's promises in our lives and Jesus' promises in our lives are bigger than our fears. So along the journey, your boat's gonna get thrown around, you're gonna get pushed around, you're gonna get tossed around, but God's promises of getting to the other side have to be bigger than our fears, and that's gonna enable us to operate in a way in life that is gonna be more beneficial both for ourselves and for everybody else that we're around, okay? We're not gonna get caught up, we're not gonna be too scared, we're not gonna be afraid of all of the things that come our way, but we're gonna be able to function with a supernatural peace that even though we won't say that we'll be asleep during those times, but we'll have the comfort to sleep at night, despite the bad things that are going on around us. So the focus there, or the takeaway there, is that the supernatural part of that story is that when the outcome is bad, but you're still able to sleep. Okay, now I can pull a little bit from the games or my games experiences to relate to that in a sense where obviously things don't always go your way at the games, right? You have a whole bunch of events. You're prepared for some, maybe you're not as prepared for others, but you still have to go do them. And you have to go do them in front of thousands of people where you might feel like you get a little bit exposed, you get a little bit embarrassed, you get your chink in the armor shows up on the floor. And so at some point in the weekend, usually happens with just about every athlete, they find themselves somewhere on the leaderboard where they don't want to be, or they have a finish on the leaderboard where they don't want to be. And something that I've always tried to carry with me through that weekend and through competition series and any time that I've been competing in anything is that to have that peace through the weekend, that no matter where I'm at in the middle of this bad situation in terms of my competition, that I don't want to be there, that I don't want to be where I'm at on the leaderboard, and I can choose to be frustrated and look down on myself and let that affect the things that are coming next. Or I can just have that peace to say, hey, the stuff that's happened before is done. I need to focus on what's going on right now out on the floor and do my best to my ability to correct, move forward, and get to the other side of the lake or the other side of the competition because it's not over yet. I'm still breathing and I still need to keep doing the work that I need to do to have success. So being able to have that peace and have that mindset even when things are bad around you is the big takeaway from this lesson. So a few scriptures to kind of back that up, to kind of back up that concept of having supernatural peace. We look at 2 Thessalonians 3:16 says, "May the Lord of peace himself continually grant you peace in every circumstance." Doesn't say when things are going good. Doesn't say when your storehouse is overflowing, when you have a ton of money in the bank and you got food on the table. It says in every circumstance that you would have peace. The Lord be with you all. Colossians 3:15 says, "Let the peace rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in one body, and be thankful." So that peace ruling in your heart, you're called to that, right? That is something that you need to focus on. You need to think about. You are called to do those things, to have that peace. John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful." And that's Christ speaking there. So just to overemphasize that fact, it's actually one of a command that he gives us, to not let your heart be troubled, to nor let it be fearful. Okay, so understand that those things are going to come. Those situations come daily. They come in large forms, in smaller forms, but God has given you a way to deal with that, right? And Christ has given us the example to follow in terms of having that supernatural peace. So while you're praying in a situation, or while you're hoping in a situation, thinking things need to turn around, things need to change, I just want this to go away, I just want this to be better, think about maybe just praying for peace in that moment, that you can have some peace with the situation that's going on around you, no matter how hard it is, but that God's going to get you to the other side of the lake, no matter what it is that's going on. Hope this message finds you guys well. Put any questions down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe. Have a great day.
Top of the mountain, yeah, we fly away to the top of the mountain, yeah, we never coming down from the top of the I couldn't do it. I take every word, burn it like fluid. Just a red light running right through it. I do it, I do it. For my people, for my team, for anybody trying to give a dream. Back in the day, it was just a dream. Now look at me, on top of the mountain. So high, but from way up here, I swear this game was made for us. 'Cause I can touch the sky, yeah. From the top of the mountain, from the top of the mountain.